Next on my list, love, propaganda, patience, endurance, shame. These, I don't have time to, really give you the thick rundown of each of these words and what they mean for me or why they're on my list. I hope you're taking a note of them so that you can think about them later. Maybe that's an exercise for you. Why did Barnett put this on his list? Why, for example, is patience such an important word? How is that giving him an upper hand in life? Next word on my list is should. Here's why should in general is on my list. Because it's the most worthless word in the English language. There's no such thing as you should have known something in the past. You didn't. You didn't know. Right? So should get you nowhere. There's nothing constructive about it. You could have known, but you didn't. The best you can do is fix it now. Know it now. Investigate it now. But as far as should, looking into the past, I should have. What's that going to do for you? It's going to do nothing for you. I tried to eliminate that out of my vocabulary, and I try to replace it with could. Like, when I think back to my ex-wife, Diana. Boy, I shouldn't have said that mean thing to her. Okay. But you did. It's much more constructive and useful to say, you could have said, you could have avoided saying that to her if you had known what you know now. You could have avoided being verbally abusive to her if you had done such and such work. You see how that's constructive. Could is constructive. Could have. Couldn't have. These are constructive because if I could have, in my brain, that's almost immediately followed up by if. Then you get context. Then you are allowed to forgive yourself for things you didn't know or circumstances that you were dealing with that you're not dealing with now, or that would be a stress on any human being that was not directly as a result of, let's say it was directly as a result of abuse that you dealt with as a child that you had not identified yet. Capacity versus ability is on my list. Forgiveness versus acceptance is on my list. Meekness. Why is meekness on my list? Meekness is another word kind of like modesty. Meekness means that you're teachable. That's why it's on my list. Meekness means that you're teachable and you're willing to view hardships, discipline, and consequences as tools for improving your character as a human being. So you view hardships, if you're a meek person, you're able to view hardships as serving a legitimate, even positive purpose. In that, even though it's not pleasant, and even though you might be miserable at the time, you know that there will be positive benefits from it. You'll be a better person coming out of it. I think about the folks who endured, even, stayed happy in the concentration camps, in the Nazi concentration camps. I mean, there was a lot of depression and a lot of suicide and stuff like that in the concentration camps. But there were also people who maintained a positive spirit. And what happened? What did all those hardships do for them? Well, when they come out of it, think of the inner strength that they now had that they could pass on to other people. And I don't want to be misunderstood by saying that the Holocaust was anything good. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that any hardship that a meek person goes through can actually create a better person. It can create a better person because they come out, they've survived it, they've endured it. Now think about the benefit that person is now to society. And so I'm thinking about like my own hardships that I've dealt with in life. At the time, totally miserable, hated it, didn't want it, didn't like it. Sometimes felt like I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. But I endured it. I survived it. Not only that, but I'm living a better life right now than I was before I went into those hardships. Another benefit of it is that I don't take the things that I have for granted anymore. I had ice cream tonight. I had ice cream and a couple shots of whiskey and a steak for supper. I don't take that for granted. To me, that's like living like a king. So happy to have those things. Don't take it for granted. I also don't assume that I will always have those things. But I appreciate them while I do have them. So those are the sorts of things I'm talking about. Being meek naturally also involves living with patience, endurance, mildness of temper, without haughtiness or vanity. So it's the sort of mental attitude that makes it possible to endure injury with patience and without irritation, resentment, or vindictiveness. Okay, we'll just wrap up the last couple words here on my list again real quick. Courage, which is not the same thing as bravery. And the final word on my list is compassion. So there you go. That is my list of most important words to ruminate over regularly to have the upper hand on life.